Hello everyone, Rhymes45 here. Welcome. Today we're gonna be racing in Monza, and surely enough we have a cloudy weather, gloomy if you will. And what makes today's race a little bit different is we have 20 cars on the track and we have a 30-minute race as opposed to a 20-minute one that we usually do. And with that comes the concern of fuel management. We have to make sure fuel doesn't run out before the end of the race. So now as we kick off, Monza is known for the notorious first chicane, and these cars seem to be running straight ahead into a disaster, which is inevitable every single time. I cut corners to avoid collision from a car from behind, and there I have a warning, rightfully so. And as we make the first long right turn of Monza, there's a McLaren and a whole bunch of cars chasing behind us. And the second chicane of Monza, there seems to be another Porsche on my tail. There. It seems to be pressuring me from the get-go. I feel like I don't have that much speed to get away from it. And there, from the helicopter view, surely trying to overtake. But I must admit, this Porsche is very fast, and I can't do anything but to let him pass. At this point, I give him the space to go past, and there we have a contact. Me swerving a little bit and losing control for a moment there, but the Porsche is still behind me. On this straight, the last back straight of Monza, I would assume he has the speed to overtake, but at the moment he's just trying to be patient and find the right time to overtake cleanly, which I'm expecting, but so far I'm ahead of it. And as you can see, we have second position as we hit lap 1. And as we come up on the first chicane of lap 2, we cut corners because the brakes weren't performing, and there's another McLaren cutting corners, and there I get a second warning of the race. And surely the McLaren would get a 30-second pass through in the pits as he didn't brake when he was cutting corners, which results in a longer penalty. And here we see some players being annoyed by the others, probably because of misconduct. And the Porsche that was pressuring me on the first lap is still behind me. And the McLaren ahead of us, which cut corners earlier on, one thing I've noticed is the fact that he's braking in the middle of the race, as if he's trying to ruin somebody's race. And as we passed the McLaren, the Porsche had actually passed me as well when I was trying to avoid the McLaren's misbehavior. As we do that, we get to the last back straight of Monza, and the Porsche in the rear view mirror following behind. And as all of the cars hold their positions, we go into lap 3. And don't be confused by the indicator on the screen, because that's how many laps we've done already, and we're doing on the third one at the moment. And as we do the first chicane of lap 3, the Porsche just loses control. There you go on the grass. Thank you, the helicopter camera view. And replaced by Torvs, who's driving the Ferrari behind me. And as everybody kept their position, we go into lap 4. And I noticed the Porsche from the first lap, who was behind me right up to the first chicane, is now in front of me. And Torfs, the Ferrari, behind me. And the pace continues as the Ferraris eagerly trying to overtake me on this long right-hander. And as we get into the second chicane, the Ferrari eagerly tried to pass, gets caught by my front end, unfortunately. And at that point, I wish I could speak to him to apologize for that mishap. But unfortunately not, I can't type and talk at the same time. But moving on, we get to the death chicane of Monza, and as we pass, we go into the back straight, the last back straight of Monza, and being pursued by a BMW right on my tail. And as we get to the last long right-hander of Monza, nothing has changed really. And surely enough, we go into lap 5 with a gain of 0.02 seconds. And seems like everything has been going the same until the end of lap 5 again. But then there seems to be an incident where the BMW just bumps me from behind, making me go wide, and I find myself chasing him going into lap 6 of this race. And naturally, this kind of incident boils your blood, seeking revenge on this person who's trying to ruin your race, and me trying to keep calm and not to do anything stupid, determined to overtake the BMW without any incident. But there, as a gentleman that he is, he acknowledged his mistake and now letting me pass. And as that happens, I tend to go wide on the next turn, and the BMW back on my tail, flashing his lights for some reason, which I don't seem to understand what he's trying to say, because if he was faster than me, I would have just let him pass, but he's not faster than me, and on top of that, he just lost control, which allowed me to make the gap bigger. And as we go into lap 8, there doesn't seem to be that much of an event going on, except for the fact that there's a Ferrari right on my tail again, overtaken the BMW, had approached me and pressuring me from behind, and there's another car on the left side just went wide into the sand as the Ferrari's right on my tail pressuring me wouldn't give up. A very determined Ferrari behind me. And looking ahead, me being number 2, number 1 is right in front of us, 9 seconds ahead of us to be precise. And as you can see, 9 seconds, 9.2, and it's a Porsche. So leading the way into the 8th lap. Now the Ferrari's pace is too fast, like I had no choice but to open up the space for him, and I take the 3rd position as we go into 8th lap. So on the 9th lap, as we take the first chicane of Monza, there's a BMW cutting corners to catch up with me and the Ferrari here. And the positions have been constant the whole of lap 9, and now we're into lap 10. Same story. Same BMW from the last lap, still cutting corners as he goes into lap 10. But the way he went into that corner, it was without any reduction of speed, which is going to cost him time, or is going to be penalized. And then there's another Ferrari over there spinning on the second chicane of the lap and jumping into 11th lap. History repeats itself. No drastic change of positions, and me being on the third position. It looks like there's a couple of cars ahead of me, a McLaren and a Porsche, the same Porsche that was pressuring me from the first lap. And there's a Ferrari right behind me persisting, trying to overtake, and then a group of Ferrari and McLaren behind us as well. So as we come into lap 12, the distance between me and the first driver is 11.3 seconds, and same thing from the previous lap is happening again. But this time it looks like the Ferrari seems to be picking up the pace, and I think he's going to be successful over here for taking over, which he did. Me giving him space, acknowledging his speed, and the death chicane over here for me, according to me, on Monza. Now one Ferrari Torps in front of me and a second one Gomez behind me. So Porsche being sandwiched between two Ferraris is the situation on this lap, which is the 13th lap. We've already done 12, and looks like 0.03 of seconds gained on this lap from the previous one. And just noticed 3 track cutting warnings I'm carrying with me along as I'm racing in the final laps of this race. And Gomez seems to be the one who's pressuring at the moment, as Torps has prevailed in overtaking me. And now there's a new car, a Porsche, that's joined the race, either joined the race or being overlapped, as 3 of us approach him. He seems to be leading the way. And the final stretch of lap 13 of Monza. And Gomez seems to be approaching, and Torps has passed the Porsche in front of me, and it looks like we're all going to overtake the Porsche, as he's slower than all of us, and wouldn't want him to slow us down. Into lap 14, and here we are again, the first chicane of Monza, and the Porsche has cut the corners in attempt to let us all pass, it seems. And the Ferrari in front of me, Torps, seems to be faster than me, so pulling away, keep making the gaps bigger between me and him. And there's another car, Santos, a BMW in front of Torps, who's also either joined the race or being overlapped. And here Gomez has succeeded in overtaking me, and props to him. Me falling to the 4th position now, towards the death chicane of Monza, which I really dread so much. But here we are, marching towards the finish line, 4.5 minutes before the finish line. And at the last few minutes of the race, everybody's doing their best, keeping the pace really high and try to take the podium position as much as possible, which for me is becoming small light at the end of the tunnel. And heading towards lap 15, it seems like Gomez in front of me, Torps as well, but at the same time 2 other cars were being overlapped, I'm assuming, in the way of us and the podium. The BMW ahead of us, Santos, is being overlapped, but yet he's having a hard time reading the blue flags. Blue flag meaning let faster cars pass, which he is ignoring at the moment. And over here he lets us pass finally, as he should. And on the 15th lap, the leader being 1 corner away from us, and it just goes into lap 16. Same thing, nothing has changed. And then into lap 17 again, same story, but a few seconds left before time runs out. As you can see right here, 0 is the mark of the end of the race. It's just until the leader has crossed the line, which is the only time we have before our race is over. And as we come to the last seconds of the finish line, we see our gas is on point, just less than a liter left, as we take the 4th position and 16 laps crossing the finish line. And there you go. What a race. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.